the way to look at this is not to compare it right now with 2021 because 2020 and 2021 were massive increases. It's to compare 2022 with 2019, which is when this all took off. And the number of murders occurring in 2022 are up massively compared to what happened in 2020 and 2021. We are officially 1 week until the midterms. There is going to be a red wave. All of you need to get out and vote. The question is, how high will that red wave be, and how many will it carry into Washington and into the state capitals in many of your different locations? As we speak right now, you guys know that I'm a nerd when it comes to looking at polls, but also I am a gambling person, and I like to look where people are actually putting their money. Hey, everybody, we're excited for election night, as many of you are as well. We're going to be having an incredible party in Nashville, and we want you to be able to hang out with us as a part of our VIP family.
So all you got to do is sign up, become a Clay and Buck VIP, and you can stream and join us. Some of your favorite people are going to be there, too. It's going to be an election night bonanza. We'll see you then.
Right now, there are a lot of tight races. But as we speak, right and now at a little bit after 1 o'clock on the East Coast on Tuesday, 7 days until the election, Blake Masters is favored to win the Arizona Senate race. In Nevada, Adam Laxalt is favored to win the Nevada Senate race. In Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz is favored to win the Pennsylvania Senate race, and Herschel Walker is a favorite to win the Georgia Senate race. Republicans right now are minus 30,000 to go out and win overall the House. So the House, the question is really, as long as all of you get out and vote, minus 3,000, I should say, the question is, how big will that majority be? A really, really big favorite at minus 3,000. But those 4 Senate seats that I just hit you with, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, are all in the crosshairs, winnable. Right now, Republicans are favored in all 4. Win 2, and Republicans take back control of the Senate. That is a red wave election, 53-47. A tsunami would be Joe O'Dea in Colorado. It would be Tiffany Smiley in Washington, lifting up other additional candidates. A tsunami buck would be your guy Lee Zeldin in New York. Christine Drazen, who we're going to talk to in the next hour, is actually favored to win in Oregon. Tudor Dixon tied up right now in many different polls in Michigan. New Mexico, Wisconsin. There are a lot of states that could flip from Democrat control to Republican control if all of you get out and vote and the tide continues to move in the direction it is right now. Not surprisingly, I told you that I would share you Joy Behar, and I will play that for you in a moment. But, Buck, I thought you would love this. This is from Tom Bevan at Real Clear Politics. Great website, Real Clear Politics out there. Does a great job of distilling so much of this data. Neither Stacey Abrams in Georgia nor Beto O'Rourke in Texas has ever led in a poll this entire race. Not one poll has ever had them in the lead. Combined, what do you think they have spent on their governor races in Georgia and Texas, Buck Sexton, to never lead in a single poll? So he is
putting me on the spot. Okay,
yes.
We have not coordinated this.
You have no idea. I'm assuming you haven't seen this tweet.
I have not seen this tweet. I am going to guess at the number. I'm going to say between the two of them, they've spent $100 million.
Good guess. Not enough. They are going to spend $150 million between the two of them.
That is wild. That is
They have raised $150
million up in smoke.
Totally put it up in smoke. $150 million, much of which has come from really rich people in New York and California, who we said before have been the founding members of this Beto and Stacey Abrams fan club. $150 million, and they have never led in a single poll in either Texas or Georgia this entire election cycle.
So I don't want to get in the way of your luncheon date with Joy Behar, but she's got thoughts for Clay Travis. Isn't he that mean sportsman who's always, go play the sports?
That's pretty good, Joy Behar.
Of course. I'm from New York. I get it. But here is, actually, no, not the Joy Behar. I want to tell you about Josh Krashour. I just saw this tweet. I'm pulling it up right now. Here we go. Yeah, Josh Krashour. I think he's a Politico guy. One Democratic operative working on House races in New York says the politician who is the biggest drag on Democrats isn't Biden. It's not Pelosi. It is Governor Kathy Hochul. Quote, she's dragging down the whole ticket and will lose winnable House races because of it, the operative says. From his lips to God's ears, the woman who used to wear the vaccine necklace deserves not only to lose to Lee Zeldin, but every other Democrat in a contested race in her state deserves to lose too. That she will be the vortex that brings them all down.
You see, Buck, where she said she was the underdog? Did you see? You saw that clip,
No, I didn't
right?
see that.
Oh yeah, so maybe we can grab that at some point and play it for you. I meant to grab that the other day when I saw it. She was asked about the close race against Lee Zeldin, and there is an all points bulletin, like DEFCON notice out for Democrats right now all over the state of New York to try and save Kathy Hochul, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do it. I hope they're not going to be able to. But she was asked about that, and she said, well, I'm the underdog in this race. I mean, when you're the Democrat and you're calling yourself the underdog in a statewide race in New York, it ain't going well for you.
It's remarkable that this is where we are at this stage of the game with Democrats. But when you think about it, they refuse to moderate positions or change course. And so, of course, it keeps getting worse. Right? There's no part of them that's really been willing to adopt in the last 6 months, even the last 6 weeks. The crime issue is one where, no matter who you are, if you live in a place where you feel like it is, and by the way, people who live in the suburbs, for example, people who live upstate in New York, just to give you an example of that, right? My grandparents had a place in the Hudson Valley. I used to spend summers there. Okay, it's Beautiful. 2 hours drive, 100 miles from New York City. None of them want to hear or believe that New York City's unsafe because they have friends and family who live there. They go visit. They go to catch a show or they go to see the Rockettes or what. Nobody wants to believe that the crown jewel city of their state, whether it's New York or Chicago or Phoenix or you name it, is having a massive crime increase. And the fact that what they've been saying to us is, and look, this is also a part of the Paul Pelosi attack discussion here, which putting aside, the politics that they're trying to make of it and everything else, it is far too normal in American cities for senior citizens to be attacked by maniacs. Just as a general, this is and we want this to stop. Our side wants this to stop in all cases. What happened to Paul Pelosi was terrible, but it shouldn't happen to anybody. And they're telling us, Clay, that it's not happening. That's the part of it that I think is the most galling.
And this is exactly so they've moved from the argument now, which is, it seems maybe the worst argument they've made so far, is the idea that crime is increasing is just in your heads. It's not a reality. That's what the dumbest person in television, Joy Behar, said to her audience on The View earlier today.
I'd like to remind everybody that it was the Democrats, not the Democrats, who stormed the government that day and tried to kill the vice president. Yeah. Okay. And the Republicans now coming up to the next election, which is next week, by the way, all they do is talk about crime, crime, crime. Well, I looked it up. Murders in major cities have fallen by 4% so far in 2022 compared with the same period a year ago. So crime is not on the rise. It's actually going down under Joe Biden.
So 4%, Buck. And again, she's an imbecile. First of all, I don't know what city she's citing. And I also question anyone who works on Joy Behar's research staff. I'm also going to toss out is probably an imbecile as well. But the way to look at this is not to compare it right now with 2021, because 2020 and 2021 were massive increases. It's to compare 2022 with 2019, which is when this all took off. And the number of murders occurring in 2022 are up massively compared to what happened in 2020 and 2021.
And actually, I think a lot of people remember that the argument that the same Democrats, the argument they were making, Clay, was that this was just COVID related,
yep,
and therefore temporary, kind of like how inflation was going to be temporary or transient. They said the same thing about the crime wave. It has actually proven to be durable. And so what they're doing now is saying, well, maybe it's durable at this elevated rate, but at an unacceptably high rate, it has dipped down a tiny bit. And that's not even true everywhere, and it's not even true in all crime categories. We could sit here and play this game all day. Okay, fine. San Francisco doesn't have a sky-high murder rate. It does have a sky-high burglary, theft, breaking and entering. I mean, those crimes are all different. Areas have different. Some places have tremendous increases in grand theft auto or even carjacking.
Yes,
as a specific. Crime is regional in some ways in that sense. But what you do see is there are big increases in every city, pretty much in the entire country. In fact, the Wall Street Journal was crunching the numbers 8 months ago, I think it was, on rural areas, seeing an increase in crime because there's so much more in the cities that it starts to bleed out into not just the suburbs, but even further beyond that. And look, the Democrats, if they lose the way we think they're going to lose, and if it's in large part on this issue, they're getting what they deserve.
Yes.
That's something everyone needs to know. They deserve to lose based on what they've done, but also on the arguments they make. The crime situation isn't that bad. Joy Behar should run. Clay, I spent decades of my life in New York, thousands and thousands of hours. I mean, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but on the subway system, it is dangerous now. There are maniacs that you have to be aware of and that are threatening and ominous to be around in levels I have never seen before, certainly since like 1992.
Yeah, and look, the argument is going to really fall flat because I think people are smart enough to understand that saying, oh, crime's not up that much in 2022, combined with historic rises. I believe the FBI said the difference between 1990 and 2019 and 2020 was the largest single year increase in murder on record for the FBI. And then the numbers went up again in 2021. And so I think, again, we're sitting here November 1st. A lot of murders tend to happen late in the year historically. And so that will likely continue. But to say, oh, murders are down 4% off of two of the worst years that we have seen in the 21st century is not going to make people feel like they're very much safer. And again, I would question any data that Joy Behar is citing because I'm not sure there's anyone on television who has consistently been more wrong. I'm not even talking about opinion, just factually getting things that are clearly not true and using them as a part of her arguments.
Clay Travis is being so mean today. He's being a mean man
Happy
about
birthday
Joy.
to you, Joy. You turned 80. I was legitimately stunned that you were. I thought Joy Behar was a lot younger than 80. She's younger than Joy Behar is older than Joe Biden. And as much as I think Joy Behar has lost her mind works way better than the president of the United States, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Damning her with faint praise, but it is faint praise at least.
Yeah, there you go.